Amazing reunion stories are always heartwarming, whether it's long-lost lovers, newfound siblings or parents, returned deployed soldiers, or lost pets finding their way back home. Before we continue with the rest of the video, we could use your help. Click the like button to help spread the word about Watchjojo animals. And also, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. These stories can resonate deep inside our souls. This story, which will no doubt bring you some cheer and maybe a few joyful tears, is no different. We begin with a man named Pat from Tennessee and his gorgeous pit mix named Blue. These two had a relationship that defines the term man's best friend. In the spring of 2020, however, Blue went outside and disappeared. To make matters worse, Pat had to move to Texas for work shortly after his disappearance. We can assume that Blue went about exploring his territory a bit too far from home and lost his bearings. Perhaps he chased a small animal into unfamiliar territory. We may never know exactly why Blue disappeared, but we promise a happy ending. In the spring of 2020, Pat's arduous search for Blue began, as WCYB News 5 reports. It would last for months with no luck. It seemed impossible, but there was simply no trace of Blue to be found. Pat felt more and more hopeless as his search yielded no results. Then, things only got worse. With Pat's hopes of finding Blue slowly diminishing, he faced another obstacle. This obstacle would make the chances of finding Blue dwindle. Pat was heartbroken about the decision he was facing. Pat's job was relocating him to Texas, 1,200 miles away from his and Blue's home in Tennessee. It had been months since Pat had seen Blue, and he knew he had to move for his work. It was gut-wrenching. Pat had resigned himself to the fact that he would probably never see his beloved Blue again. He was literally devastated, but with all his searches turning up empty, Pat had to move on, literally and figuratively. However, our story doesn't end there. Though pit bull breeds have a bad reputation, they can actually be very loyal and loving dogs. They are also very friendly dogs who can easily be distracted by their kindness of others. Could this be how Blue became lost? The bond they can build with their owners runs deep, so it is easy to see how Pat could be so torn up over Blue's disappearance. These dogs literally become like family to their owners. An unlikely surprise. Pat moved from Tennessee to Texas and was adjusting to his new life. Obviously, he could not forget about Blue, even though it had been over 6 months since he disappeared. However, Pat was about to get the surprise of a lifetime. According to WCYB News 5, Blue had been rescued by the Washington County Animal Shelter back in Tennessee. This is probably the reason that Pat could not find any clues to the dog's whereabouts. Questions do remain about whether Pat looked at the shelter and why he was not contacted that they had Blue. We can only assume Blue was either not microchipped or his chip had not been activated. This is why the shelter did not contact Pat. They simply did not know he was the dog's owner. Additionally, we do not know how long Blue had been at the shelter. Perhaps Pat had checked the shelter before Blue was taken there. The animal shelter explained on Facebook that Pat's friend, who had recently visited the shelter, sent him a video of Blue playing with a ball at the shelter. Could it truly be Blue? We aren't sure if Pat's friend was just keeping up the search for Blue in Tennessee for Pat, but when he saw Blue at the shelter, he noticed the uncanny resemblance to his buddy's dog. Upon viewing the video, Pat knew the dog in question was his Blue. He was ready to drive all the way back to Tennessee for him. What's even better is that the shelter was able to get a video of Pat and Blue's miraculous reunion. If you are anything like us, it will get you right in the feels. The video begins after Blue has leapt into Pat's arms. This is where the chills begin, running down our spines. You can hear Pat exclaim, "That's my boy," and "I missed you so much." It is so amazing watching these two together once again. Blue certainly knows Pat is his person and is obviously thrilled to have him back. Pat pointed to a small patch of white hair on Blue's neck. He explained how he knew Blue was his by this patch of hair. Let us know what you think and pass this on to all your dog-loving friends and family members. Would you be willing to drive as far as Pat did to reunite with your pup?
The world is filled with stories going viral every single day. But how many of these sites can you actually follow? We understand that your day should start with positive stories, stories that resonate with you. And so we started JoJo Stories. Our mission is to create meaningful stories that cover everything from animals to anthropology, history to environment and lifestyle. The kind of content you read on our site will be one you'll want to share with your family and friends. We hope you'll join our growing family and be part of our community. Welcome to JoJo Stories. JoJoStories.com